the 991 the best modern Porsche? Honestly, it might be. So coming up on now 7 months of owning this car, 7 months and about 9, 10, 11, 12, almost 4,000, exactly 4,000 miles actually right now, ironically, while making this video. I've learned a lot about this car. Number one, the bucket seats definitely make you really meshed with the car. They really make you feel connected with it. And the way that you sit in them for my body type works great. In 4,000 miles, canyon runs, San Diego drives, 3-4 hours straight driving hard through some amazing roads. Not one single hiccup with this car, not one single check engine light, not one single issue, not one single weird startup. And right now it's clocked at around 12,907 miles. I actually got it with 8,900 miles, so it's literally 4,000 miles. But some things that I wanted to talk about. For modern Porsche, this could be possibly the best Porsche out there, because I think this will be a future classic. This is that perfect bridge between a 997 and a 992. I just think the 992 styling in the interior just doesn't have that. This still feels like a modern car, but it still has a 997 feel from the front of it, from the looks of it. And I personally, not just because I own it, but I personally like the .1 GT3RS better than the .2 because of the styling aspects of it. It still has that perfect little bubbly, sharp, classic 997 look from the front. At first glance, you just think it's still a 997, which is the previous generation chassis. This thing has really just done it all for me. I got it dialed in now on emotion engineering, track, springs and drop links, along with the corner balance alignment, along with the GMG side muffler delete to give it that perfect sound. It no longer has valves, so at low RPMs, you're still enjoying that sound. You don't have to keep waiting for the exhaust to open up and all that. The exhaust is always open. That beautiful, beautiful PDK. And honestly, coming up on about 6-ish to 7 months of ownership, this car just gets better the more I own it. And sometimes I'll go about a week or so without driving it, and then I get back in the car and I'm like, this is why I have it. This is why I love the 991. I've driven McLaren. Actually, McLaren is the only brand I haven't driven, actually. No, I have driven a 650S. I have not driven a 720, but I've driven 488, 458 Specialia, Aventador S, SVJ, a regular Aventador, regular 458, regular and 458 Specialia, 488. And every time I'm in somebody else's car or I drive those cars, I come back to the 911 and I go, wow, this is just that good. And I think the 991 is going to be that chassis that's just like the 997 5 to 10 years from now. It's aged so well. Its looks, its personality, its character trait, the amazing wing coming out the back where just you know that you're in something special. And it's just, not a lot of cars can do that. And not a lot of cars can do that. And I say that a couple times, but it's just that special. It's that special and that perfect of a car. And I'm gonna park for a second and I'm gonna walk around the car and show you guys a little bit and do a little bit more talking on the ownership of this thing. Honestly, how perfectly it's dialed in with the silver wheels, it's just locked in right now. Thanks. She's like, your car is really pretty. Thanks. I really think it is too. And so the setup on this car right now, you could tell it is not stock. It is not a stock 3RS suspension wise, right? Like I mentioned earlier, drop links, springs, corner balance alignment. This thing is dialed into the max. Taking it on canyons, which we'll do here in a bit, the flair of this car and the way it handles now. I think a stock 3RS or a stock GT3 is just a little bit too soft. Personally, the steering's a little light. I know electronic steering has a lot to do with that. Steering is a little light, not as heavy, not as responsive, a little bit of play. But with this setup right now, it's completely dialed in. And I think driving all these cars, this car still does it for me. And 7 months of ownership is kind of this theme of this video, and talking about launch controlling this thing, canyon driving it, 3,000-4,000 of really spirited, amazing miles, and it hasn't given me one single hiccup. A little launch control, shall we? Traction control was kind of aggressive there. All right, let's give it another run on this on-ramp. And you can see me moving around in that seat, because that seat is locked in. That seat is not, that seat's giving you the full experience. It's giving you the full, like, hey, we are really in this thing together. Not just, oh, we're just in it. No, we're in it together. You feel one with the car with these seats for sure. And how easy. I launch control it once, stop, make a left turn, launch control it again. There's no computer system trying to interrupt you here with what you're trying to do with the car. Whatever you want to do with the car, it's going to let you do it. This car, even though it has the modern traction control, electronic stability control, and, you know, even like your suspension, dynamic mode and stuff, but it's going to let you do what you want to do with the car. It's not going to tell you, hey, you can't do something. And that's the amazing part about this 991, because that's what I experienced when I reviewed the 992 Targa, which is also on my channel. And when I reviewed that, it was a little, the controls, the traction was kind of hard to get all the way off. It was still a lot of interference. This car has zero interference. One touch of the button and there's zero interference. And the best part is also, you can turn off stability control and leave traction control on. So that chassis dynamic kind of like helper of the stability is no longer there. So that's why I love this 991. I know you can do that with the 992, but the 992 is a little too digitalized. It's a little too modern. And they're trying to make cars softer these days, which is an interesting way to approach things, because they're trying to make things softer and more appealing and more comfortable and more quiet, but the people that are buying these cars aren't necessarily looking for that, you know? So that's why I think this is the sweet spot. You know, I would love to own a 992. I still like that car. It'd be awesome to add and really have an awesome comparison with this and that. But right now at this point, I'm just enjoying this so much. And now we're gonna, you know, I want to get some raw clips in the canyons and whatnot too. And just, even when you're normal driving, you know, you're just cruising. I was messing with the shifts a little there, but just even normal cruising, just such a beautiful sound of that flat six.